Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of Straight Talk Whiskey. I'm Nick, and this is episode number 30. You probably noticed if you've been watching along with the videos here, and now we're back in the normal Straight Talk Whiskey studios, if you will. After a few months upstate New York area, in the nice Hudson Valley region of the state. But it's good to be back in the home studios here. And I know I've been doing mostly bourbons this past summer, maybe one or two Irish whiskeys thrown in there. But now we're going to come around and kind of get back to the premise of this whole whiskey review series, which was to go, from American bourbon and whiskeys over to Irish whiskeys to Scotch whiskeys, and then some other world whiskeys, like the Bastille French whiskey that we did earlier on in the series. So what we have today is not just Glenlivet, which you might hear if you go to the bar and order some scotch or something like that, but the Glenlivet. This is the 15-year-old. This is the French Oak Reserve edition. The basic entry level is 12 years on this. But I actually got this last year at Whiskey Fest here in Philadelphia. Originally I was going to get the Tullamore Phoenix, but they were out of it actually. So actually I just ended up going with this because I said, let me get something, that'll be worth kind of sipping later on, can kind of keep it around for a little while. So this is what I got, and so the Glenlivet, you can see it's nicely packaged here, some wonderful wrapping paper. This is just great. But so anyway, Glenlivet has been around for a long, long time, and it comes from the Speyside region of Scotland. Now, this originally started back, before the 1800s. People who were distilling illegally up in this very mountainous region. Now, they have some things going for it, being the remote mountainous region that Speyside is in general, and then adding to it the even more remote location that Glenlivet was put on by George Smith back in the day. It made it a real good spot, in the early days, for it to be created and sold among kind of the bootleggers of the time, trying to escape any taxation or things like that. But the king caught on to it and, needed to taste some of this, which was said to be some of the first actual smooth Scotch, whiskey for the time. And so, getting back to kind of the whole provenance of the whole region, first you have some of the most clean, crisp, high-quality air that's around there. And things like that, it definitely does help with the distillery, whether it's, marketing, sure. They can kind of get that provenance, that little, they can get that sort of a leg up on the other competition, using their location and remoteness and crisp, clean air and their water source that's from, I believe it's called Rosie's Well, which produces a couple thousand gallons of water a day. And I think it's also helped out by another well up there. So that, definitely adds to the whole entire experience because, water is a big part of whiskey making, not only used, after maturation when they're getting it down to the proof that they're going to sell it as, but also, the water for the malting process of the barley, because this is a single malt. Glenlivet doesn't do it on site. They do the malting elsewhere, and then that comes to them, and basically what they do is they mill it and then mash it and go on from there, fermenting it and that sort of thing. So they control all the other aspects of it. But this is a really, really nice step up, I guess, from the regular 12-year. Color-wise, let's take a look at it in the glass. I'm expecting probably a little caramel coloring, but you know, that's just the way it is. There is a version, Glenlivet Nadura, two versions actually. There's just the regular Glenlivet Nadura that I believe is a 16-year-old. Correct me if I'm wrong. The other one might also be 16 years old, but it's aged in Oloroso sherry cask. Whereas this, like I said, it's the French oak reserve, so they're using some of the finest, Limousin wood for their casks. The 12-year uses, I believe they use a mix, maybe of sherry and bourbon, first fill bourbon barrels from the U.S. So let's get back to color. See what we kind of got going on there. It's a nice golden color there. It's kind of glimmering around, which is kind of nice with the light. Again, just taking a little stroll around. You can see that the 15 years with the legs kind of going up there. Nice trickle back down. I do this a lot with, things that have a little bit of age to them. It's just like wine. You can kind of see the legs and see what kind of body and age and that sort of thing you've got going on. It's not precise. It's not gonna be able to read the rings around, the tree trunk there and see how old it is. But you can definitely tell that you have some age spirit. Is it a quality age? That's to be determined by tasting it. But it's just one kind of thing that you have going on there to put in your bag of tricks there. So let's go in for the nose. Now the first thing that hits you is that you'll notice it's not a peated single malt. This is unpeated. They let basically the essences of the natural, malted barley show through in their whiskey, and they don't peat it. So what you actually get, though, is this a grapefruit, definitely grapes, slightly on the sour end, hint of honey in there, sort of like fresh cut grass also. But definitely a predominance of the this grapefruit, like I said, slightly sour note going on in there, which is definitely interesting because you wouldn't expect that when you go through, go to taste the scotch or start nosing it. You might think that you're going to get that big peat kick. What I also don't get from 15 years is you don't get any strong sense of the alcohol. Now this is, let me check, but I believe it is, 80 proof, 40% ABV, which, I always say it should be higher, should be, I think the minimum we need to raise it is to 43% ABV. I know that the physical product, getting it out there to consumers at a certain price is, kind of what's driving that. They're going down to the legal minimum so that they can sell this as a, whiskey. They could get away with it, calling it, a blended whiskey or something like that if they wanted to go lower than that, but who's going to buy that? So, anyway, let's get back to it. Let's go in for a taste. Wow. I think back in the 1800s, the king had it, hit the nail on the head there. You're searching for something, nice and smooth. That's what you get, is you're surprised, at least I'm pleasantly surprised how smooth it is. And the first thing that I got was definitely that, the ripe, slightly sourish fruit notes going on there. But also, right after that, immediately, there's kind of this wash, this little wave of vanilla coming over there, which I expect is imparted from the real high quality French Limousin oak. Man, something. Ooh, I could sip that all night. That's a good one. I'm surprised actually. Um, you see brands like Glenlivet and these other ones. I'm not going to throw out names because it's going to seem like I'm throwing them under the bus, but I'm not. What I'm saying is something that's so mass-produced. You see it everywhere. Okay, let's equate it to like Jack Daniels or Jameson, stuff like that. Just like these common, popular things, people that don't even drink can tell you exactly what it is, and they know what it is, and they've seen it, and they probably smelt it or something, or tasted it once. But everyone, single malt Scotch whiskey, Glenlivet is definitely a name that someone, even a non-drinker could like pull right out of their head and name. So you're always kind of questioning what kind of quality that these bigger distilleries are going to sacrifice for quantity. Now, I've talked about that in the past, quality over quantity. But this is pleasantly surprising. Really good. Just lovely how nice and creamy the texture is. There's a slight tinge of kind of this nuttiness, slightly on the spicy side, but not too much. It goes away after a bit, lingers just slightly, but definitely that grapefruit. That's the predominant fruit. You can pair it right up against each other. It's not like some other things where you get sort of like you can sense berries or something like that, especially with some Irish whiskeys. But this, you get definitely a specific grapefruit taste to it, which is nice to kind of pin something like that so obviously right from the get-go. Definitely great. Let's go in for one more pass. Definitely a great balance between the fruits and the nuttiness and the vanilla and the mouthfeel, like I said, nice and creamy. And it definitely stays around the finish. It's nice and smooth. Creamy, but a slight chewiness still to it, which is nice. That's, that 15 years of work inside that oak has definitely done a brilliant job, really. Which I think is great. So let's go in for a score here. I forget about the score a lot, so consider yourself lucky that I actually remembered to do it this time. So let's see here. I think it is fair to give this a straight talk whiskey score of, and let's hope it shows up on the camera, 94 out of 100. I'll definitely be getting the 12-year to compare that, as well as the Nadura. I'd like to get one of those, to pit it up against this. That's all natural, so it's coming in at cask strength. So getting non-chill filter, that's the other thing. So that would be great to kind of pair that against this. Yeah, so despite its size, Glenlivet has 15 stills. When it comes to maturation, this is the interesting thing. They don't actually keep all of the aging casks right on site or right nearby. They're spread out all over Speyside because a long time ago there was a fire at the distillery that kind of put only a slight dent into the process. George Smith, the founder of the Glenlivet, kind of bounced back easily from that, and made it better, and definitely helped it become what it is today. But that's sort of the thing, if there was a fire in that kind of remote region, I'm not sure what kind. I'm sure they have resources, obviously, to quash something like that, some disaster like that. But just to be safe, they do have their cast spread out around the Speyside region of Scotland to mature. So definitely a wonderful dram. I would like it to be a little higher. That's the only thing in alcohol by volume. You just wish it would be a 43 or 46 even. I know that's asking for so much nowadays, but just because I feel like you get something that's even more sensational and great than what it already is. Now, for the price, you're not losing out too much. You get a pretty good bang for your buck. So if you see this around, I don't know. I got this, like I said, at a Whiskey Fest here, so I don't know if the discount, was, greater than it might be the rest of the year, depending on where you live. But definitely something worth checking out, even if it's, going to a bar or something like that and just getting a bit of it. Don't get ice, though. This does not need it. You don't even need water. So, you're good to go. You get the bottle, get a glass of it, good to go. So, for Straight Talk Whiskey, that's been another episode up to number 30. Next week, who knows what we'll have. There's a bunch of things on the list. If you have anything that you'd like to see reviewed, please comment. If I can find it, more often than not, I will go out and acquire that. If people want reviews on that, then I'm going to do reviews of that, because that's basically what the series is about. Is just the average working man or woman going out and being able to purchase these. Like I said earlier on, I don't get any solicitations from distilleries or any big corporations or brands that send me samples or anything. These are all I'm going out on my own, doing my own research, and purchasing these bottles. So I'm in the same boat. I'm definitely, if I give you a recommendation, it's from the heart, and it's not from somebody kind of paying me to say something or any nonsense like that. Because there are reviewers out there that do that, and to each their own. It's great. You can have perspectives from all over the industry in various lights, I guess, if you want to put it. But so that's why it's Straight Talk Whiskey, because it's just straight talk, no BS. This is just kind of what I'm getting, what I'm gathering around. I'm learning just like everybody else. Kind of, we're all on this whiskey journey together. So as always, have a great week. Please drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time.